Hello. In this lesson, I am going to review all 5 exponent properties. In the notes that you found on Google Classroom, this was the first page that's in your notes. So you have a blank chart. I know mine is the wrong way. But what I want you to do is pause the video and see if you remember what we need to do for each property. Okay, so for example, property 1, okay, when you multiply exponents, when it's the same base, you're gonna add them. Okay, so when you pause your video, you would write down for property 1, when it's the same base, you add the exponents. And then make an example. You may use the ones that I have, or you can come up with your own. For example, x to the third times x to the first gives you x to the fourth. Again, reminding us when we multiply same base, you are adding exponents. Okay, so if you did not pause the video yet, go ahead and pause the video and see if you can fill in the rest of that chart. Okay, hopefully you're back and you tried to complete the rest of the chart. Okay, property 2, which is dividing same base. You are subtracting exponents. So you would write down same base, subtract exponents. Remember, you're taking bigger minus smaller. Keep the answer where the bigger exponent is. Property 3. A base raised to the 0 power is 1. So anything to the 0 power gives us 1. Okay, and you can look at the examples that we have below. Property 4, when you have negative exponents. Remember that you are not supposed to leave your answer with negative exponents. So we move the base and the negative exponent to the opposite side of the fraction and make the exponent positive. Okay, so this one's a little bit longer. The example that I have down here is 2x to the negative first. Be careful because some of your homework assignments that we were grading, I was still noticing that you were moving that coefficient. Remember that 2 is raised to the positive first power. So you're keeping that 2 where it is. You're moving the x to the negative first to the opposite side to make it positive. So you'd have 2 over x to the first. So this is definitely one of the properties that I see a lot of mistakes with, so just be careful there. Okay, property 5, hopefully you remembered. When you have a power to a power, so when you have an exponent raised to an exponent, you're going to multiply the exponents and keep the base the same. So example is 2x to the third, all raised to the 4th power. You would multiply that 4 to each of the exponents. It's going to clear the parentheses, and it's also going to combine your exponents. So you'd have 2 to the 4th, x to the 12th. Okay, so again, that's a review of all 5 properties that we've gone over. I am now going to review the order of operations for all exponent problems. So this is already written for you. I want you just to listen to the summarized portion that I gave you that will simplify this for you. We will then go over some example problems combining all 5 properties. Okay, so when we have a problem that has more than 1 or 2 properties involved, what you're going to do is step 1, get rid of parentheses. So clear your parentheses. Okay. Step 2, we're going to get rid of negative exponents. Step 3, we're going to simplify. Okay. So when you're simplifying, okay, you're going to simplify the multiplication property, the division property, and the 0 property. Your final answer, no bases should repeat, and you should not have any negative exponents. Okay. So again, the simplified version of this is we are clearing parentheses, We are moving negative exponents, and we're simplifying. Okay, so the last part of your notes, you should have 16 problems. I'm probably going to jump around a little bit, but these are all good examples of when we do have all the properties combined, what we need to do. Okay? All right, so let's start with a couple easy ones, and then I'll start skipping around. All right, so number one, this one's pretty easy. It's only has one property involved. So your order of operations of exponents, which I'll write up here, the first thing it tells us to do is clear parentheses. Well, in number one, you don't have any parentheses, so we skip that step. Step two tells us to move negative exponents, make them positive. Well, we don't have any negative exponents in one either. Step three says to simplify, okay? So the only thing we can do on number one is we're dividing same base, we are subtracting exponents. 15 minus 9 is 6. You're keeping it on top because that's where the bigger exponent is. So the answer to number one is C to the 6th. Okay, number two, following our order of operations of exponents, clearing parentheses for number two, you are multiplying that -4 to each of the exponents that we see. And watch your signs. Okay, so you would have x to the -12th, y to the +8th, z to the +20th. Okay? Once you multiply your negative exponent to every exponent in there, okay, now look and see our step two says move negative exponents to the opposite side. Okay, so y to the 8th stays on top, x to the +12th goes to the bottom, leave z to the 20th where it is. Okay, so our parentheses are gone, our negative exponents are gone. Step three says to simplify. Okay, but you're looking to see, are any of the bases repeated? They're not, so we're actually done. There's nothing you can simplify on this problem any further. Okay, and again, a reminder, your final answer is not going to have the same bases, and it's not going to have any negative exponents. Okay, number three. All right, so step one, look and see if there's parentheses. There's not. Step two, look and see if there's any negative exponents to move. There's not. Okay, so we go to step three, simplify. So to simplify this, we have the bases of x repeating, bases of y's are repeating, and the base of z. So now you just need to be careful with where you're putting each of these. When you divide same base, subtract exponents, keep it where the bigger exponent is. So the x is going to stay on top, 7 minus 4 is 3. The y is going to stay on, the y is going to stay on top. Okay, 9 minus 7 is 2. The z is going to go on the bottom because the bigger exponent's there. 8 minus 3 is 5. So x to the third, y to the second, over z to the fifth. We know we're done because all the bases are different, okay, and we don't have any negative exponents. Okay, number 4. First step, let's clear those parentheses. So you're taking this 5, and again, we're multiplying it by each of those exponents. So a to the, 2 times 5 is 10, over b to the, 5 times 3 is 15. Step 2, move negative exponents if there are any. There's not. Step 3, simplify. Okay, there's nothing to simplify because again, we've already cleared the parentheses, there's no negatives, and all of our bases are different. So we leave our answer like that. Okay, so I want you to take a minute. If you need to pause the video, you can. I want you to try numbers 5 to 8, and I'm going to go over those a little bit quicker. Okay, hopefully you attempted these, or at least some of them. If you need more time, make sure you pause the video. The answer for number 5 should be 3 to the third, because again, when you're dividing same base, we subtract exponents. Okay, keep it on top because the bigger exponent's on top. Number 6, you should have a to the 12th over b to the 8th. The only thing we could do there is multiply the exponents together. The bases are different, so we're done. Number 7, we're multiplying the -2. So this one is a little tricky. Each of those bases is raised to the first power, so you are multiplying those by -2. 1 times -2 is -2, and then 1 times -2 is -2. Okay, once you get rid of your parentheses, our step 2 always tells us get rid of negative exponents if there are any. So 3 to the second becomes positive, moves to the top. 2 to the -2 moves to the bottom, becomes positive. We're keeping our answer in exponential form, so we're done at that point. 3 to the second over 2 to the second. All right, number 8's a little tricky. All right, so make this a little bigger. So number 8, our first step to clear these parentheses, like we did in the other ones, is multiply each of these exponents by 4. So you'd have p to the -12th, q to the -8th, over q to the -12th, r to the 20th. Okay, from there, your parentheses are gone. We're going to move all the negatives to the opposite side. Okay, and again, just be careful with these. So now we're going to rewrite what we have. So that q to the -12th went to the top and became positive. Everything else moved to the bottom. So p to the 12th, q to the 8th, and r to the 20th stays because it's positive. All right, so now parentheses are gone, negative exponents are gone. So step 3 says look and see if there's anything we can simplify. We have the bases of q that are the same. Okay, so we can reduce those. We're going to subtract them because you're dividing same base. So 12 minus 8 is 4. You keep it on top because that's where the bigger exponent is. So you end up getting q to the 4th over p to the 12th, r to the 20th. Okay, so if you did that one without me and got that right, awesome job. Again, be careful. Make sure you're checking that final answer, that the bases are different, and all of those negative exponents are gone. All right. Let's see. All right, let's do number 9. I'll skip a few of these. All right, let's do number 9 here. So number 9, first step, check and see if there's parentheses. There's not. Okay, step 2, we're going to move our negative exponents to the opposite side. Okay, so that a to the 2nd goes on top. A to the 6th is already there, so keep it there. Move b to the 5th to the bottom. Keep b to the 7th on the bottom. All right, so now negative exponents are taken care of. We're just simplifying. When you multiply same base, we're adding exponents. So your top, 2 plus 6 is 8. And then the bottom, b to the 5th, b to the 7th, gives you b to the 12th. Okay? You know you're done because the bases are different and we don't have any negative exponents. All right, let's jump to number 12. Okay, so number 12, our first step, clear parentheses. So we're going to multiply that 5 through. So a to the 10th, b to the -20th, over b to the 10th. Once you multiply that exponent to all other exponents, now we're going to go to step 2, move the negatives to the opposite side. So a to the 10th is on top. the b to the 10th is still there, the one that we didn't move. That b to the negative 20th moved to the bottom and became positive. So we have a to the 10th. Make sure it looks like a 10. So a to the 10th, sorry. Try this again, sorry. A to the 10th over b to the 10 plus 20 is 30. That's a little messy. So a to the 10th over b to the 30th. Again, we know we're done because the bases are different and we don't have any negative exponents. Okay, let's try numbers 14, 15, 16. So these are the last three I want to do. Okay, 14, step 1. Are there any parentheses to get rid of? No. So go right to the negative exponent step. We're going to move the negative exponent of z to the negative third to the top. And we're going to make it positive. Okay, so rewrite the base of z. 7 plus 3 is 10. Keep it on top because, again, we moved that negative exponent to the top. Okay, 15. First step, we're going to clear parentheses. So I'm going to put a 1 above the 5. Again, being careful because the coefficient still needs this outer exponent to be multiplied to it. So that 2 gets multiplied by all these exponents. Okay? So when you do that, you end up with 5 to the 2nd, a to the 0, b to the 8th, all over c to the negative 6th. Okay, once your parentheses are gone, remember step 2, we're going to move any negative exponents to the opposite side. So 5 to the 2nd, a to the 0, b to the 8th, c to the positive 6th. Okay, once you get to this step, where it's looking better, but now you want to say, well, what can we simplify at this point? Okay, are any of the bases repeating? No, they're not. But we have this term right here. What does a to the 0 equal? Okay, hopefully you remember that a to the 0 is just 1. Anything to the 0 power gives us 1. So it's gone. You can just wipe that out, okay? And we're left with 5 to the 2nd, b to the 8th, c to the 6th. We know we're done because all the bases are different and we don't have negative exponents. Okay, another comment I wanted to make before I look at 16 with you. If you had something like this, and the entire parenthesis term is raised to the 0, what would your answer be? Okay, hopefully you're saying 1. Remember, if that outer exponent, whatever that exponent is above the parenthesis, if it's 0, that entire term turns to 1. Okay? All right, number 16. So the last one I'm going to do with the mixed operation review, which again, hopefully these are pretty easy for you. So 16, step 1. Okay, there's not any parentheses to get rid of, but we have 2 negative exponents on the top that need moved down, and we also have these 2 on the bottom that need moved up. So just be careful that you're not missing things, especially when there's this many terms that we're moving. The x to the 4th that was on top stays there. The x to the 1st moves up. The z to the negative 10th moved up, also became positive. On the bottom, the y to the 6th is already there, so keep it there. And then the y to the negative 8th moved down, and the z to the negative 2nd, which now becomes positive, moved down. Okay, so once you move all those negatives to the opposite side, we're now looking at our simplify step. Anything that has the same base, we can clean up and reduce. So we have 2 x's, we have 2 y's, and we have 2 z's. So when you go to combine these, remember the x's, when you multiply the same base, you're adding exponents. That becomes x to the 5th. The z, when you divide same base, you're subtracting. Okay, keep the answer where the bigger exponent is. So 10 minus 2 is 8. Keep it on top. And then the y, you multiply same base, you're adding exponents. So y to the 14th. So your solution is x to the 5th, z to the 8th, over y to the 14th. Okay, again, we're done because the bases are different. We don't have any negative exponents. So we will have a short quiz on these mixed properties next week, which I will create in Google Forms again, just to make sure that we have mastered the skills that you need to with these 5 properties. So any questions on these, send me an email, Mrs. Sefcik. My email is on the stream in Google Classroom, or you can just use my regular school email, and I can make another review video if need be. Hope all is well, and everyone